Hello viewers, if this is your first time viewing us, then welcome to the channel, and if you're returning, then welcome back. I'm glad to see you again and I really appreciate your support. My name is Nate, and today we'll be counting down my top 5 things Skyrim could have done better. I will be excluding game mechanics and bugs from this list, along with anything more technical in nature. This video will focus solely on the lore, questing, and storytelling aspects of the game. I think this is best to avoid turning this into the top 5 list of the worst bugs in Skyrim, which was not intended to be the premise of the video. Number 5. Better followers. The followers in Skyrim, with the exception of a few notable examples, such as Serena and Cicero, were rather dull and bland. A lot of the followers in the game certainly have the potential to be interesting and meaningful to your playthrough, but simply fall flat. Many of them never do anything that is in the slightest bit interesting after you complete the usually short quest that is required to obtain them. We here at the channel aren't exactly criticizing Betheseda on this, as it's easy to see why the writers wouldn't want to put in the time to craft intricate stories for NPCs that a player might never choose to interact with. Going back to our previous statement of some followers following through after their quest, we will say that we enjoyed many of the quests required to obtain Skyrim's followers. With the exception of the sellswords and generic faction followers, almost all of the unique NPCs always appeared to have an interesting story behind them. That said, it just felt like we never got to hear most of that story, or that we only got glimpses of it. With mages, warriors, assassins, and archers, we most certainly did appear to have our pick of what kind of a weapon would be at our back as we ventured through Skyrim, just not of what kind of a person would be. Number 4. The Giants. But nonetheless, we are connected to these giants, for we both share a common ancestor. The Atmorans were huge and smart. Nords descended from these ancient folk became the small, intelligent people that we are today. Giants, on the other hand, became the huge, stupid creatures that we watch from a distance. Once we honored our cousins with offerings of cows, but this practice has fallen out of favor. Perhaps that is to the detriment of Nord villages everywhere. What I just read out to you was a quote from a lore book that can be found in ESO Online. In Skyrim, giants were mostly seen lumbering around, herding mammoths, and not really doing much of anything. However, in the lore of the Elder Scrolls, giants have tribes, they have chieftains, they wage wars, and they even create burial grounds for their dead. It's believed that giants may be the cousins of man, and yet in Skyrim, they are treated mostly as any other mob. Giants were a nice touch to the game, and their mostly peaceful nature stayed true to the lore, but we can't help but feel like there was some wasted potential there. Number 3. Dragons. It's really hard to put dragons on the list of things Skyrim did wrong. Betheseda provided us with an experience that was unlike any that was available at the time of Skyrim's release. The combat and appearance of the dragons that were in Skyrim were, in our humble opinion, beyond reproach, and we're not about to call Betheseda out on any of that, as we feel we would be remiss to do so. That said, we would have loved to have more intelligent and talkative dragon NPCs. Yes, we know that the dragons wanted the Dragonborn dead. You played as their mortal enemy. It only makes sense that they would want to cook you into little roasted Nord bits. That said, the dragons are an immensely powerful and immensely intelligent race. We would have liked to have seen more dialogue with at least some of the enemy dragons in Skyrim. Perhaps certain named dragons could have called down to you from their word walls before initiating combat with you. Perhaps you could have a chance of speaking to certain dragons before they died from their wounds and you absorbed their souls. Come on, you can't tell us that it wouldn't have been cool to hear the last words of an ancient being that knew his soul was about to become a part of your own. Number 2. The Companions. When I first booted up Skyrim back in the day, I was somewhat shocked to learn that there was no Fighters Guild for my warrior to join. It was alright though, as I quickly fell in love with their replacement, the Companions. Battle-hardened, honorable, werewolf warriors. What's not to love about the fluffy giants? We loved the Companions, and we loved their quest line. The one thing that we feel was missing was a feeling of actually being a member of a pack of werewolves. Yes, we do recognize that the entire quest line of the faction revolves around the fact that you and the inner circle of the Companions are indeed lycanthropes, but never do you actually get to experience anything close to running wild with a pack of werewolves at your back. Number 1. The Nords. The Nords have almost always been one of my favorite races. That said, seeing them in Skyrim was great, and a lot of the time, the main cast of Nordic NPCs were a stellar addition to the game. For example, Jarl Balgruuf and Ulfric Stormcloak both definitely gave off a strong and Nordic feeling. Balgruuf was loyal to his people, down to his core, and was even willing to stand between the people of Whiterun and an army of Stormcloaks if it came down to it. Ulfric, meanwhile, was powerful, respectable, and had an air of authority that's sometimes hard to express in a video game. However, the general populace of NPCs and the depiction of the Nordic culture felt just a bit off. We just feel like the game stressed the Nords' xenophobic and magic-fearing tendencies a little too much, rather than showing us the honorable, noble, and strong side of their society. Just one too many arrow to the knee jokes, and all those fearful warnings for our wizard characters not to burn down a house, has us thinking that the Nords were just a little too dumbed down in the game. This has been our top 5 things that Skyrim could have done better. If you like this video, please like it, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. And, since we mentioned them in the video, if you're interested, we recently did a video talking about just how strong dragons actually are in the Elder Scrolls universe. You can check that out in the description or on my channel page. Well, that's about all we've got for now. We hope you have a great week, and thank you so much for stopping by. This has been Nate from LoreStream Productions.